it's also a plant that should, I think, belong in every single person's medical kit, first aid kit, because the sooner you put it on, the less the injury will be, and the quicker the pain will go away.
Hello and welcome to the Herbs with Rosalee podcast, a show exploring how herbs heal as medicine, as food, and through nature connection. I'm your host, Rosalee de la Forêt. I created this YouTube channel to share trusted herbal wisdom so that you can get the best results when relying on herbs for your health. I love offering up practical knowledge to help you dive deeper into the world of medicinal plants and seasonal living. Each episode of the Herbs with Rosalee podcast is shared on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast app. Transcripts and recipes for each episode can be found at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com or through the link in the video description. Also in the video description, you'll find other helpful resources. For example, to get my best herbal tips, as well as fun bonuses, be sure to sign up for my weekly herbal newsletter. Okay, grab your cup of tea and let's dive in. It's been on my mind to have Michael Pilarski on the show for quite a while now, so when he dropped by the other day to see my garden, seemed like the perfect time to invite him to be here. So Michael, or as many know him, Skeeter, has been working in the Methow Valley where I live for many years now. In fact, I remember visiting his tincture booth at a holiday fair when we first moved here, which was like 2007 or 8 or so. Anyway, now he's moved here and he lives just up the road from me, which says a lot because there's only about 8 houses on this 3-mile stretch of road. So very rural, not a lot of people, but Skeeter's here. It's been fun to have him as a neighbor. In this conversation, Michael shares his experience of wildcrafting and farming for the past 30 years, his love of herbal gatherings, and some great tips on harvesting arnica and making medicine with it. For those of you who don't already know him, Michael Pilarski is an herb farmer, wildcrafter, and educator with 50 years of experience in Washington State, Oregon, North Idaho, and Northwest Montana. He farms a diversity of medicinal and food plants in agroforestry permaculture systems and has expertise in seed collecting, value-added products, and propagation of native and non-native species. He has worked with over 1,000 species of plants. He combines the science of herbs with the magic of herbs through his studies in plant spirit medicine. Michael has initiated and organized many herb gatherings, including the Northwest Herbal Fair, the Montana Herb Gathering, and the Medicinal Herb Growing and Marketing Conference. Well, Michael, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have my close neighbor here on the show, and I'm just thrilled to be able to spend some time with you.
Yes, this is great, Rosalie. I mean, we're so close. The backdrop here, if people want to see that, that's where I live, and that's where Rosalie lives. This is our backyard. Those mountains there with lots of forests on them, and we're also part of the shrub steppe grasslands area as well. And I was just reflecting I was thinking before the show, looking at this beautiful scenery here. It's interesting that I've lived my whole life, pretty much most of my adult life, in rural, remote areas and mountains and beautiful, stunning places. And I never set out to do that. That wasn't my intent, but that's what worked out because I became a farmer and a wildcrafter, and so I get to live in these beautiful places, and you do too. And so take this, folks. You don't have to wait until you have to have money to buy land to come out and live in the country and live in beautiful places. I've done it with hardly any money. So you probably can too. All right.
Yeah, you have been, I'm really excited to hear about your plant path and all of the ways that you've woven plants into your life. You have such a unique perspective in terms of the wild crafting and creating these amazing gatherings for folks. So I'm excited to hear more about it. And yeah, I realized I didn't even know where you were born or how you even found yourself on the plant path.
Well, I was born in Michigan in what we call the tip of the mitt. Let's see if we can get centered here. So right up, excuse me here, along this coastline. But I moved out west when I was 20 years old as a Midwestern cultural refugee. That's what I call myself. But I came out here and I became a farmer, a farmer and a permaculturist, and I did orchard work, tree planting. I did mostly outside work. And at one point, I found myself in Bellingham teaching, writing, organizing, but I wasn't doing anything with my hands. And I said, "Oh, I feel stale." That's the word I use. I
Mm.
feel stale. I need something that I can really be learning from, and I can explore the sustainability of it, because I'm always exploring how can we do these things sustainably. And I wanted something that would make money, do with my hands, keep me outdoors, and I could do with my 9-year-old son. So that was a real strong criteria, something that I could do with a 9-year-old boy at the time. And so he grew up while crafting with me off and on, and his mother taught him a lot of real skills as well. And now I find so I picked that 30 years ago, that wildcrafting career, and I've been doing it ever since. And now I'm an expert in sustainable wildcrafting, how to do wildcrafting on a sustainable basis. Where's our situation? Um, and lo and behold, my son is now a partner in our business. We have a business farming and wildcrafting herbs, and now my son's my partner and carrying it on. So, anyway, I'm just thrilled that I've taken this wildcrafter career and herb farming. I also got into herb farming quite a bit. And so I don't consider myself an herbalist. I know a fair amount about herbs, but just kind of like the basic stuff. If someone comes to me with a serious problem, I say, "Oh, you should go talk to a really professional herbalist." Um, but I maybe can give them recommendations, because I've met thousands of herbalists in my career, and I'm friends with Rosemary Gladstar and all kinds of great plant people. And any rate, there's a little bit about my career.
Hmm. As you were speaking about that, I was thinking about how you seem to have a lot of really deep roots in a lot of different places. Like I think of you as being, um, you mentioned Bellingham. I know you have a lot of roots in Port Townsend area on the Olympic Peninsula, in Montana. Now you're here in my backyard in Eastern Washington, Idaho. That's kind of interesting. Like when I think of like what is Michael's home, it's like this entire, Pacific to inland Northwest area. Do you feel
Yeah,
that?
I always said from a young age, I said the Northwest is my turf, and
Mm.
it's my area that I can unfold in and serve. I'm basically in service to the Northwest. A lot of it's the inland Northwest. Also lived near Yakima, near Chelan, near Leavenworth,
Mm.
near in North Idaho you mentioned, in Montana, and also Hood River, Oregon, and
Oh.
uh, and some I was in Seattle and Bellingham as far as my urban experience. Yeah, so I have, and it's interesting because wherever I go, like here I am in this beautiful surroundings and beautiful place, I fall in love with this place. I'm in love with the Methow Valley, and I have a lot of friends here, and so it's one of my homes. But I was just in Kettle Falls, Washington, and I love that piece of the
Mm.
world, and I have many friends there, and so wherever I go, I want to build a love relationship with the land, and of course find my local people, my peeps, as they say, find people that carry the same kind of uh, yearning to have the world be a beautiful, peaceful place, and that we fix up the planet. It's like fixing up the planet and fixing up humanity are the two biggest jobs facing humanity at this point. And boy, we're not doing very good on either one. Though I must say, our herbal movement, Rosalie, our herbal movement, the herb renaissance of our day and age, over the last 30, 40 years, the last 40 years, has really burgeoned and is so vast now. And so many people are learning traditional things, but inventing totally new herbal pathways as well. And they're mixing a lot of modalities. And so it's a real, uh, it's a real great mix, and what they call the U.S. the melting pot of the world is one term, but the our herbal renaissance is has a lot of diversity in it, and a lot of strength as a result. So, at any rate, I'm happy to be part of the family.
Hmm. I'm curious, just thinking about you've been wildcrafting in this area for 30 years. And I have a lot of questions about that. One, I know a lot of people these days can be fearful of wildcrafting because we have a lot of habitat loss and, just concern for the plants. And I think you're a perfect person to talk about that since one of your main themes in your life is sustainability. So I'm kind of curious about that. And I'm also curious about, how things have changed, 30 years ago versus today in terms of your wildcrafting. And I think it's just worth pointing out because people might not realize, like, you have most likely harvested tons, like literally tons of plant material over these 30 years. I've seen, what you've done just in a small minute, small aspects of that. And I know that just doesn't even begin to cover it all. So I'm just kind of curious about that, like the sustainability of wildcrafting, how it's changed in 30
Hmm.
years.
Yes, well, boy, I have long lectures on that, or discussions. But there's just a few things I'll start with. First of all, we, of course, don't want to. Well, first of all, there's a lot of invasive plants in the world. Everywhere you go these days, pretty much, there are invasive plants. And generally speaking, we're trying to favor native plants. That's not totally the case by any means, especially on the farm, for instance. But I wildcraft a lot of weeds, invasive plants, and so there's sustainability concern is a little bit less there. The other day I was like, oh my gosh, we it's in fact it's pretty much impossible to over harvest weeds in a sense. It's hard to harvest them out of existence. You just go give it a try. You start trying to fight dandelion, for instance. Ha! Uh, any rate, so we let dandelions grow in our garden as a result. They're just wild in our garden, but I think we make $3,000 this year from the dandelions there. So, any rate, so wild plants is part of it. And there are some things that definitely are at risk. And the United Plant Savers is a great place to find that out, though you don't have to believe everything they say, but they have a lot of really good information on that. So they're sort of some of the people, the herbalists, are trying to keep track of this of how secure plant populations are. The worst case scenarios, a lot of times, are in places like Africa, parts of Asia, where there's a fairly high population. And a lot of the people, it's interesting, the people that wildcraft in the world are usually the poorest parts of society. They can't get a decent job. They're handicapped in some way. They're blacklisted because they're too radical. There's so many reasons people can't, you said, in a sense, get a job. And so wildcrafting is one of the things poor people fall back on. So in some cases, they're so desperate they will unsustainably wildcraft because they're just trying to feed their families, and worrying about the sustainability of that plant may not be as your great as your concern for that your family doesn't starve to death. So, anyway, there's a lot of, and one of the poor. I'm a sort of a relatively uh, uh, person of low means here in the United States, and same with some other wildcrafters. So, anyway, there's the if we buy our herbs from those parts of Asia and other parts of the world where people are harming the thing, using those herbs is maybe contraindicated. So locally wildcrafted herbs in a sustainable fashion is to be preferred usually to buying a lot of stuff internationally because of the footprint. And though I do believe in fair trade, I am incredibly fortunate to be a wild crafter in the US, and I figured out how to sell to tincture companies and small herbalists. And so I have a market. And so I'm getting the full value of my stuff, though I sell to a tincture maker, then they make the tincture, market, sell it to a retailer, and then the retailer sells it. So there are some other links to the chain, but I'm getting a really high percentage of the market value of what I harvest. Whereas those people in Asia and Africa and Latin America, a lot of times, or Central America, a lot of those people, and including a lot of indigenous people, they get paid pennies on the dollar. They're just so ripped off. And so we really need fair trade channels to reward uh, the wildcrafters of a reasonable wage compared to the rest of the world.
Mhm.
Uh, Wage equitability is one of the social justice issues of our time on this planet. And so, anyway, getting uh, local wildcrafted or farmed. What's the difference between farmed and wildcrafted? Well, I do both. I see the benefits of both of them. For instance, Arnica, Montana, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We can't. Uh, I don't want to source that from overseas because it's over collected in Europe, and a lot of it's on the endangered list in various countries there. So I go out and get my own local Arnica. But Arnica montana, which is from Europe, I can grow that in my garden, so I can add that to my repertoire of what I have available. So farming lets me have a wider variety of plants available than just wild crafting. And for instance, I grow a lot of black cohosh, and black cohosh is one of the things sort of that is considered way over harvested in the Appalachians. And so I'm sort of just reducing the demand a little bit, not a whole lot, but growing black cohosh, growing those at-risk medicinal plants. In fact, UPS has a book on that, and so does Rich Ochek, growing at-risk medicinal plants. Um, so, anyway, the problem with just going to farming and say, oh, we'll never take another wildcrafted herb. We're only going to use farmed herbs because well, the more land that we convert into agriculture, the less wild habitat there is. There's something to be said. Give me an acre of really healthy natural habitat over an acre of farmland. And the acre may produce more medicines, but in terms of ecological rights for the planet, we should be using more, we should have more wild habitats and less farmland. In fact, I would say, with my knowledge and permaculture's knowledge, we can say that we could double world food production on half of the current farmland in the world. We could retire half of the current farmland into some of it into agroforestry systems, but a lot of it could go back to wild ecosystems, and we can stack them with medicinal plants just like the indigenous people. The indigenous people stacked their ecosystems with medicinal and food plants deliberately. They favored those plants, and you could say, I don't stewarded or managed the ecosystem so that there was lots of them. And that's not so well known. In fact, it's been, you might say, hidden from us. But the indigenous peoples of the world actually really were doing a good job, and some of them still would be if we just let them. But so that's part of why I'm promoting wildcrafting, is we need to restore our ecosystems with medicinal plants, and restore our ecosystems with food plants, and restore our system with just a general range of native plants. Anyway, though, so there's a little bit about the sustainability angle. We have to be careful. Don't harvest things where you shouldn't and where there's not very many of them. You only harvest from where there's lots of something, and you harvest, and it really varies the percentage you can take. It can, in the case of arnica flowers, it could be like 50% of the flowers I could take on the system and hardly, make any difference in the outcome. Whereas if I went up and dug, lithospermum, for instance, it's a taproot. When you dig it, it's gone. I might only take 5% or 2% of something like that in a harvest. So, anyway, there's a couple of thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. That was interesting perspective on just um, the importance of maintaining wild habitats versus, more agricultural land. Um, I'm curious, have you seen plant populations change, in the areas where you've been harvesting
Oh
over these
gosh,
past
yes.
3 decades? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it all the time. I was just doing St. John's wort, an invasive plant over there in along the northern Columbia, and places that were the best stands uh, can disappear in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. And it generally, what used to be all the places I harvested, it's no longer there. It takes a certain kind of disturbance, and then it proliferates, but then it gradually disappears again. So there's waves of weeds, you might say. So I've certainly seen that. I've also noticed in drought years and in the Columbia Basin, I've noticed that the nettle stands have been declining. There's less of them, and there's some are dying out, some are just smaller, but there's been a trend of drought the last 10 years that has affected those populations. So, and yes, there's always succession going on in an ecosystem. I mean, you might say there's sometimes gets to be kind of an equilibrium, but there's always micro adjustments being made by the forest itself. What's going to grow there and what kind of proliferation, and then of course fires start a whole new level of succession. If they log an area, which they're doing too much, I saw some horrible logging in the last week here, where I was doing the St. John's. Where I mean, just
Hmm.
some of the worst. Uh, any rate, so humans have got to get it together and stop over harvesting their forests. I mean, we're gonna, any rate, bad, bad,
Yeah.
bad, bad. Humans, stop
Yeah.
that, stop that.
Another
Um,
perspective to take into consideration with it all. Well, let's talk about arnica. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. I'm curious. You are farming arnica, Montana. I'm curious if you're harvesting our local cordifolia. And yeah, I want to hear about it all. Arnica. Let's dive in.
right. Okay. Well, arnica is one of my favorite plants. That's why I picked it, and it's also a plant that should, I think, belong in every single person's medical kit, first aid kit, because life, inevitably you get little bumps or bruises, and arnica is the thing to have. The sooner you put it on after that bump or that bruise or that sprain, or you just wrenched your leg or your knee or what, it's for uh, you have pain and it's been injured. The sooner you put it on, the less the injury will be, and the quicker the pain will go away. Anyway, it reduces, if you put it on right away, it will reduce the amount of bruising and swelling and trauma and pain, as if you just let it go. In other words, it's a excellent first aid. It's good for anybody that's got sore necks or ankles or their backs out or that kind of pain. It's really good to rub that arnica in. Anyway, so I travel with my arnica in my car, in my computer case. It's in my bedroom, in the kitchen. I need I need 4 or 5 bottles just for my own first aid. I always want it close. And
I was wondering because you work really hard. I mean, you farm and you wildcraft. Those are not easy, laid back things. So you've had
well,
a lot of like
I'm pretty
opportunity.
cautious. I've had a lot of opportunity, but I'm pretty cautious. But I did
Yeah.
have a hyperflexion on my knee trying to get at some usni on a really steep bank this spring, and that's been, oh
Mm.
man, that was so. Yeah, there are sometimes I do injure myself a bit. Um, the arnicas that I use, I've worked with maybe 7 different species, and I just did just double checked my research here, but there are around 30 species in the world. They're circumboreal, in other words, they're in northern Europe, Russia, across northern Asia, and across Canada, Alaska, North America. Um, and so there's a lot of it out there, and there's quite a few species. And the one that's got, of course, got the most press, the most testing, is Arnica montana from Europe. And so that's sort of like, you might say, the standard of excellence or whatever. But there's I'll just talk about cordifolia first, because the heart-leaved arnica has a really wide range in all the way down to like California and the Sierra Nevadas, and all the way up into Canada, all Rocky Mountains over to the, not so much the coast, but the interior mountains. And it's a excellent. It's one of the largest flowers of all the arnicas, and when it flowers here, it follows fire. So when there's depending on the severity of the fire and the type of the fire, uh, most places, most forests around here come back with big blooms of arnica. Sometimes the first year, and also in second year, third year, but then after a few years they stop flowering. But fire, it's like when the fire hits, the plant knows that it has to blanket the ground again, so it does a mass flowering event. Huge amounts of it pop out of the ground and form big patches of arnica, and then the fluff blows around, and it just reseeds the whole ecosystem. So it's a mass blooming events. And so when I go there, where I like to pick is after the after I'm following, in a sense, several years after fires is where I'll be picking. And it's typical I might do 50 to 100 pounds of flowers a year. uh, and it's just a lovely job. And it's actually that's the one I make medicine out of the most, and it's
Mm.
excellent quality. And it's considered that Arnica montana may be a little bit superior to it, but it's certainly not enough to really quibble about. So Arnica cordifolia is excellent. Another one that is the little known Arnica is fulgens. It means shining Arnica, and it's a sagebrush steppe. It grows in sagebrush and really dry habitats, more like mountain sagebrush, and or actually a little in sagebrush. I'll see it too. And it has a small flower, and it's bright orange. It's much oranger, and I'd say this: the oranger the flower or the petal color is probably the stronger the content. I don't, I can't say that for sure, but I suspect it. The but the fulgens is relatively rare. It's dispersed. It's hard to get large amounts of it, so it's a real specialty thing. I save that for myself and to my
Mm.
friends. It's like, oh, I have shining arnica liniment here. Another one that's very common in the trade is Arnica chamasonis. That's the one that's easiest to grow. It's native to the inland northwest of North America, but it's grown commercially in Europe and Asia even as uh, as a so they can make medicine out of it because there's a shortage of the Arnica montana in the world. So a lot of people are using Arnica chamasonis, and it's native here, but they grow it other places, and I grow it as well. It's the easiest of arnicas to grow. So, folks out there, you want to grow your own arnica? I encourage you. Arnica chamasonis is your best bet because it rhizomes out really thickly, and so one plant you put one plant in, the next year you'll have 20, and the next year you'll have 100, and so it really bumps up really fast, and it's also one of the easiest to grow. It isn't as finicky as some of the other ones. So, anyway, the Arnica chamasonis, but it has small flowers, and mostly we sell it as a whole plant. In other words, we cut the whole thing, stem, leaves, flowers in the flowering phase, and sell the aerial plant. So, their question is then, is the aerial plant as good as flower alone? Well, you'll get mixed opinions on that. Most people want the flower alone. However, on the chamasonis, almost everybody will just take they're happy. We won't harvest just the flower of that. We only sell the aerial. Um, but you could do just harvest your flowers at your home level, but some people say that the leaves and stems contain constituents or different levels of constituents than the flowers alone, and so that combining them, you might say, what would be maybe let's say 50% flowers with 50% aerial instead of just going straight one way or the other, might give you. It'd be great to test that for
Mhm. Mhm.
constituents and stuff. So there's a lot of these. There's a lot of unanswered questions here in arnica. Which arnicas are strongest? Are they all good? Some of them I can definitely say are not as good. Latifolia and plexicalis. The streambank arnica from west of the Cascades has very little or doesn't seem to have hairs. The oil that is the main holds the main stuff. The oil are in the hairs. They're oil gland hairs, and
Interesting.
they glisten in the sunlight if you hold it
Mhm.
up.
Mhm.
Now, the more of those hairs you have, the stronger it's going to be. And a lot of the higher elevation ones have that. The fulgens has it, cordifolia has it, Montana has it. But if you should look, and if you're trying another species, look at the amount of hairs that are there to get an indication of the quality.
Well, that's really interesting. I've definitely noticed the Arnica cordifolia having lots of those little hairs on them. They sometimes when I take photos of them, like if the sun will just hit it just right, and it just looks like
Ooh,
there's a
yeah.
halo around the plant. I didn't know that about the efficacy in looking at that. So that's a great tip. So the recipe you shared with us is the Arnica liniment, and I'd love to hear more about this. Is this your preferred way to work with Arnica, is as a liniment?
Yes, and there's couple of reasons. Most of there's a lot of arnica products on the market, and and a lot of them are, you might say, kind of watered down with one thing or another. Whereas the the oil, when you rub that into the skin, arnica oil, it tends to clog up your pores, and it doesn't sink into the body that well. You have to really, it does work, but it doesn't go in as deep as the liniment. Alcohol is actually more penetrating to the body, and so you can work it in further. Arnica, the alcohol is a better extractant than oil, so you're getting more of the goodies doing it that way, and it also is a better preservative, so it will last longer. The efficacy. Oils will go rancid, and you have to toss them out. Maybe 3 years or something like that. Whereas the liniment will be good for at least 5 and probably probably longer. I think it's pretty darn stable under storage as a liniment. You could call it a tincture, but I don't like to use the word tincture. It's just like making a tincture, but liniment is, that's for rubbing in and not for ingesting. So I don't use the word tincture. So here's my simple, easy recipe for is to take about 11 ounces, or you could take, I weigh and measure everything, 11 ounces of arnica flowers or aerial, whatever you have, and chop it up relatively fine. You can just throw it in there without chopping; it will work. But I think give it a chance for it really to just make it easy for the dispersal to happen by doing some chopping. I just hand chop it a little bit, and then you pack it into the jar. It won't take much packing. It just easily fits a little packing, and then fill it up to the brim with. I use vodka. It's 100 proof alcohol. It's sort of, I don't know, you might say designed for the human body, but anyway, I prefer it to that using 190 proof, that commercial heavy duty. It's really, that stuff's really harsh industrial process. So anyway, vodka, and then I let it sit. I put a lid on it. I want all the air out of that. That's why I say fill it to the brim, because when you put the cap on, you don't want air in there, because the arnica will want to float into the air and turn brown over time, and you'll get a little bit off. You might say some off products that you don't want. So you always want to completely submerge the material. And then you let it sit for 2 weeks or 2 months. I usually do about 2 months. If I'm in a real rush, I'll start, and I'm out of arnica, I'll start decanting it within a week or a couple of weeks. I mean, not just to use a little bit, but then I just press it out. I have a good press. And then I usually, I would say, I would just do a really light straining. I don't try to run it through a coffee filter and get it to be completely clear. I think the little bit of the cloudiness in there is some of the good stuff. So in other words, I don't really ultra strain it or run it through a coffee filter. What else would I say about the process? You don't have to shake it. You can, but it's hard to shake a full jar and get much satisfaction out of it because it doesn't move around too much. But I would say that the shaking, because we always hear this about tinctures, is that shaking the jar is so important. In my understanding, that if you're using fresh plant material, that usually you can it works fine without it. But if you're using dry plant material, that's when the shaking is much more important. So I would say if you're
And
using,
I'm curious about that. Do you ever work with dried arnica, or do you highly prefer the fresh arnica?
well, I have never used dried arnica to make a product. I only use fresh, and I think that most herbs are better used fresh than they are used dried. I mean, there are exceptions. There are some things that are better if they're dried first, and there's some things that are just as good if they're dried. But in general, fresh is better, and certainly with arnica, I always go with fresh. Here's a problem with arnica products I didn't mention earlier. So there's all these arnica species in the world. I mentioned that there's a shortage of arnica flower on the market, and so there's a lot of arnica, Mexican arnica substituted. I talked to a big manufacturer at one time, really one of the bigger ones, and he said, in his opinion, as much as half of the arnica products in the U.S. were made with not with real arnica, but with a substitute. And Mexican arnica, it's got the name Mexican arnica, but it's Heterotheca inuloides, so it's a different species, a different genus, doesn't have the medicinal qualities. So I would say there's a fair amount of fake especially by the cheaper manufacturers that are really trying to cut corners. That's one problem. And then another problem is a lot of people use dried material. And Michael Moore once described Arnica montana, dried Arnica montana from Europe. He says, "Oh, the stuff usually look like it's been taken out of a 10-year-old or 20-year-old mattress, and then stuff and then sold." In other words, it's usually really poor looking quality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a really good quality arnica is bright yellow with the petals, bright green with the calyx, and the white fluff part is like a really there's a lot of white in it from the trying to it always tries to go to seed. So it's bright white, green, and yellow. If it's kind of brownish or nondescript, you can't see yeah, then that's definitely a sign of poor quality. And so a lot of the dried stuff in the marketplace is poor quality. So between the adulteration or the substitution and poor quality with dry products, you can that's why making sure you're getting yours from a good reputable source, you so to speak. um, do your research, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, but there's bad stuff too in the arnica world. So at any rate, I'm a big promoter of arnica, and we have to ship it overnight when we sell it. We have to get it there like right away. Sometimes we'll, in some cases, not too far away, we'll put it in priority mail and say, well, it'll get there in 2 days, and it'll be okay in 2 days. But for the real serious people that are buying, 5 to 50 pounds of this stuff at a whack, they want it in overnight. We, in fact, we insist that we ship it overnight in
Mm-hmm.
most cases to get it there in really good shape. And so it's expensive, in other words, to use fresh arnica if you're shipping it in, because you have to pay that overnight shipping, which doubles the price, oftentimes, or adds at least a third or something. Any rate, that's I'm biased for fresh.
All right. And when you harvest fresh, do you have any preference of harvesting it do you like it in bud stage or full flower stage?
That's a good question. I wish I had one right here to show you, but the there is a perfect stage. The perfect stage is when it's pretty much fully expanded, but and has all of it. It hasn't started actually putting out pistils, and it hasn't really started the flowering. It's just getting to the point. It's just about to flower, and then it gets pollinated, and then it starts going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the unopened buds. I call them the stage, where you can see the yellow, but they haven't actually opened up. And so my preferred thing is to go into a stand that has a lot of the perfect stage, but that I'm also picking stuff that's maybe also on the older side, and I may be picking stuff also that's on the younger side. I'll go out and I'll pick a lot of those buds because it keeps the whole product a bit younger, you might say. So every batch is going to be a mix of perfect or slightly early or slightly later. They're all good. They're all useful, but there's a certain point where the flower really starts to all the petals droop and it hangs its head, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to seed now, and you've lost. At that point, I don't harvest anything like that. So the in a particular stand, you may be able to go back and get the early ripening ones, and then later you can go back and get the middle ones, or you can then go back and get the late. I've done as many as 3 pickings in one patch to get at those. So because different ones come on at different times, or different parts of the patch come on at different times. So that's one of the things about sustainability. If you go to a site only once and you pick the flowers that are at the right stage, there's a lot of things that have already gone to seed or will go to seed. So part of the sustainability, you might say, is going every time and picking everything you can for 3 pickings. That's definitely getting where you're getting uh, uh, into you might say a little bit of unsustainable territory. So um, bear that in mind.
Well, well, thank you for all these harvesting tips, and thank you for the recipe for arnica liniment. And for the listeners, you can download your recipe at herbswithrosalie.podcast.com. Well, Michael, one of your gifts is your ability to gather amazing people in these very large events. And this is something you've been doing for a long time in several different capacities. You've, not just herbalists, but in all these different events. And going to one of your events is always, there's this incredible element of information, but also fun. There's always music, there's always singing, there's always connection. Like, I can't think of a time I've been to one of your gatherings where we didn't stand in a circle together and, have that time. So I'd love to just talk about, one, the upcoming Northwest Herbal Fair, and two, just talk about, how you got started organizing these events, and why you continue to do so. Because I don't know, I think it's important to mention that these events are not huge money makers. It's a labor of love to bring all these people together. Sometimes people can look at the ticket price and think like, oh, I'm paying, this money and somebody's getting rich off of this, but that is not the case with get these gatherings. It really is a labor of love. So I'd love to hear about gatherings in general, and then also especially the upcoming Northwest Herbal Fair.
Well, let's just start with the Northwest Herbal Fair. As you say, I have a really good reputation for throwing fun gatherings, meaningful, a lot of connections, and a real family feeling. I just that's just how I roll. And the Northwest Herbal Fair, we started that in 1996, and we've been holding it off and on. I think this will be our 14th year, because we had some long hiatuses. But at any rate, it's been one of the biggest herb gatherings in the country. We hit 1,200 people one year. Lots of years we've hit 800 people. This year we're aiming for 700 to 800 people. So we're a large herb gathering, and
Mhm.
as far as I can tell, there's hardly any herb gatherings in the Pacific Northwest this year. There are some. There's the Spokane Herb Gathering. There's the Montana Herb Gathering or Festival in Missoula, and you're going to the Oshala Farm one coming up here. So there are some other ones, but none of them are the kind of excuse me, but the scale of the size that we have. Uh, and we always have stage music in in a couple of the evenings for dancing and merriment. Um, and we have a lot of education, as you say. So this year it looks like 60 teachers and 90 plus workshops. So we'll probably hit
Wow.
100 workshops, I imagine. So it's fun, it's educational, it's really family oriented. There's a lot of kids. The kids have a great time, and there's a lot of vendors. Like there's 50 vendors and food, but a lot of herbal products. So you can see a lot of the herbal products out there. You can meet a lot of the herbalists that are making things, and anyway, it's a great place to meet and greet. And hang out with. If you're an herbalist, you can hang out with all the herbalists that you and meet new ones, and so it really builds this community. We're building the herbal community. We are a community, a family, and when we get together, it builds that. If we all stay at home in our own little silos, the community is not as strong. So it's real important that we get together for the health of the movement and
Mhm.
also for the health of the individual. The It's so important to be with your like-minded people, to be with your family, your circles. And so the herbalist circles are, we share so much in common, and we share this passion for herbs and herbal medicine, and we're in service to the world and to the people uh, and the planet. So it's great when we get together. It really lifts our spirits. It's so like, oh, it's a shot in the arm, as they say. It really helps. It really helps you through the times when you're more alone. So it's really, I don't know. I would say it's good for your. It's no doubt. It's really good for your mental health to go to gatherings with your peer group, and so that's what we're doing here. Is we're creating an opportunity, and it's not just only for professional herbalists. There's a lot of people that are just learning. It's a great place to start out. So we attract the general interested public, the lay herbalists, the people that are just taking care of their family and their local friends. They don't have their shingle out or anything. So we have all these, everything from from top professionals all the way down to just beginners. And so it's and there's a sense of, what's the term, equitability in a sense. No, it's like we're all involved. We're all count. Everybody's a student. Everyone's a teacher. I really like that concept. And so
Mhm.
everybody has something to share and something to offer, and so we're all just sharing our gifts and having a good time together. So people are invited if they want to come. Here, can I show them? Flash my poster.
Please do. Yeah, for those of you
Yeah.
watching.
So, this is the Northwest Herbal Fair, August 16th, 18th, on the Olympic Peninsula near a little town called Quilcene, and we have a lot of bands and we have a lot of teachers. Any rate, and
Yeah,
it does.
Nancy Turner is going to be presenting as
Yeah.
the keynote, which I mean, she's just this amazing, incredible ethnobotanist who's contributed so much to our knowledge about plants and working so closely with indigenous peoples, having a really strong relationship there. So that's very exciting. It's going to be a special thing for people to be able to be in her presence and so many others. Like you said, there's a lot
Mhm.
of teachers. So yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So
I actually
yeah.
have a story to tell, Michael, about how the Northwest Herbal Fair can change your life. In 2005, I was vending at the Northwest Herbal Fair. It was my first, I think it was the first time I attended it. And John Gallagher and Kimberly Gallagher were vending there as well. And we ended up chatting. I had met them once for like 2 minutes before, so I didn't really know them. And so we were chatting, and then I just while we were chatting, I mentioned that I was tired of living in Seattle. I lived in Fremont at the time, and I just said, "Oh, just the big city is getting to me, and I'd like to move somewhere else." And John says, "Well, we have a room in our basement if you want to move in." And I ended up a couple months later moving into the basement of their house, and because I lived in the basement of their house, I ended up carpooling with this guy named Xavier, and he ended up becoming my husband. But it was really because I lived in that house. So I really attribute to the Northwest Herbal Fair, like it was this spark that happened. And then, of course, my life just changed dramatically because of my relationship with the Gallaghers. And, I worked closely with Learning Herbs for years. So it really is like you just never know what's going to happen at these events.
Mhm.
I've met some of my best friends at events, that just again, like it can just change your life. It's so important to have, like you said, that connection, to be with the plant people, to have fun. I just loved everything you said. Like it's important for connection, important for the individual. Even just, I mean, you mentioned all the vendors. I tell people all the time, one of the best ways to start getting your organoleptic testing to understand the difference in medicines out there is to go to these herbal fairs, conferences, taste the medicines. They often have samples there. Go down the booth line, taste them all, and you'll, taste one person's echinacea, another person's echinacea, they'll be different. That tells us so much, and the only reason or the only way to really do that is by tasting lots of medicines, and just that in itself is an incredible gift at a fair. So not to
Yeah.
mention the dancing, the classes, the conversations you have over lunch. It really is a very special affair.
Well, I didn't know about that story with you and the Gallaghers. That's fascinating. We changed the course of history because now you're one of the most popular herb teachers in North America, and John Gallagher actually came up with the idea for herbmentor.com and his whole at Northwest Herbal Fair. He came to a Northwest Herbal Fair and he said, I think I'll start uh,
Mhm.
this herbal online thing. And I know so many people that have met their significant other at
Hmm.
one of my events. I mean, I can't imagine. There's like hundreds. I'm sure I could say hundreds of people that have met their husbands, wives, significant others, or exes at my at one of my events. So if you're looking for somebody to have a relationship with, and you're into herbs, the herb fair is probably one of the best places you could go to have a chance to meet somebody. So,
I love that. That could be part of like the poster now,
oh, and we should mention to people that on July 31st, our price is scheduled to go up. And so right now we have, it's not the early bird special anymore, but we have the regular price and it will go up July 31st. So, we should go over to our website and get a ticket. If you're going to get a ticket, might as well get it while it's cheaper.
Absolutely, I 100% get it while it's cheaper. And will you mention we'll put all the links in the show notes, but also what is the link that what is the website they can go visit for getting tickets?
Oh, it's North nwherbalfair.com.
nwherbalfair.com.
Yeah, let me, you know, yep, and just, yeah, easy to find us out there. And
So, for those of you not watching, Skeeter just got up to get his poster because it had blown away in the wind. I love that you have like a pruning tool on your belt. Like you're just like always prepared. Do you ever not have a pruning tool with you?
uh, rarely, I put them on when you get up in the morning, and when you
Yeah,
go to bed, you take them off.
that's a
And
wild crafter, folks.
yeah, I'll take them off before I go in banks and places like that, or courthouses, which, if you had to get a plates or something, um, you don't want to look like you're having a weapon at certain points.
Right. Well, so I highly recommend the Northwest Herbal Fair. It's going to be amazing to see Dr. Nancy Turner there, as well as all the other presenters. And I also highly recommend getting on Michael's Friends of the Earth newsletter so you can be in touch because he does many different gatherings. If you're interested in buying wildcrafted herbs from him or farmed, he also has that service. So it's worth being in touch with Michael and knowing what's going on, whether you live in the Northwest or elsewhere. Yes.
Okay, you said Friends of the Earth. It's Friends of the Trees.
Friends of the Trees. Sorry, that's what I
Friends of
meant.
the Trees Botanicals is
Friends of
our
the Trees
is our
Botanicals.
company where we sell our stuff. But I also have a Friends of the Tree Society
Oh,
website, and I also have a Global Earth Repair Foundation website, which is full of international how we can how what is the international movement to restore the planet. Um, that's what my website's about. So I'm working at the international level for global restoration, and I have a lot of information on that particular website. So I may just look like a little local wildcrafter, but I'm out there on the bigger scene as well, because the planet needs all the help it can get. So
yeah.
anyway,
Yes. And you're doing just so many amazing endeavors for that. We'll be sure to get all of those links in the show notes so people can be updated on all of that. Well, again, Northwest Herbal Fair, get your tickets before July 31st for the discounts and have a fabulous time there. And Michael, before you go, I have one last question for you.
okay.
And that question is, how do herbs instill hope in you?
Well, I'm a hopeful kind of guy. I'm always trying to, I work hard at being optimistic. I think it's because I'm at peace with the source, with the creator, with the earth, with I'm at peace with the. I have faith that things are going to work out, and that there's bigger powers at play than just us humans, and so that really helps with the hope. But I am hopeful that the herbal movement will keep that it's keeping the traditions of herbalism and herbal healthcare alive in the world today. And at some point, this industrial technological civilization is going to founder. It's going to either collapse or start declining. And so a lot of the current, what we call the current medical system, will be probably go bye bye. And so it's really important that herbalists uh, that they're in a sense the hope for the world for a future that is a type of medicine that is local, that is not expensive, is not invasive, is more of a uh, uh, helping not get sick rather than treating illness. But we can treat all these illnesses and with herbal medicine, and it's better for the earth, it's better for the people. And so that's my hope, is that the herbal movement is keeping this hope alive for humanity for the future. And so that's my hopeful thought for herbalism.
Hmm. Thank you, Michael. And thanks again for all you do to bring that herbal movement together, bring herbal people together through your gatherings and through your hope too. So thank you very much.
Okay, well, a pleasure being with you, Rosalee, and I look forward to seeing you down the road here one of these days. Um, and you can we have to get you to my new herb planting and check that out. I'm pleased to be here with everybody. I'm glad you got to look at my scenery here here in the inland Northwest, Methow Valley, in the northern Cascades, the eastern slopes. It's a wonderful place. But remember, everywhere in the world was created sacred, and we should love wherever we're at and try to make it better. Okay, bye
Hmm.
bye.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to head over to the show notes at herbswithrosaleepodcast.com to download your beautifully illustrated recipe card and to get a transcript of this show. There you'll also be able to sign up for my weekly newsletter, which is the best way to stay in touch with me. And you can find more from Michael at friendsoftheTreesBotanicals.com. If you'd like more herbal episodes to come your way, then one of the best ways to support this podcast is by subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. I deeply believe that this world needs more herbalists and plant-centered folks, and I'm so glad that you're here as part of this herbal community. Also, a big round of thanks to the people all over the world who make this podcast happen week to week. Nicole Paul is the project manager who oversees the whole operation, from guest outreach to writing show notes to actually uploading each episode and so many other things I don't even know. She really holds this whole thing together. Francesca is our fabulous video and audio editor. She not only makes listening more pleasant, she also adds beauty to the YouTube videos with plant images and video overlays. Tatiana Rusikova is the botanical illustrator who creates gorgeous plant and recipe illustrations for us. I love them. I know that you do too. Christy edits the recipe cards, and then Jenny creates them as well as the thumbnail images for YouTube. Alex is our tech support and social media manager, and Karen and Emily are our student services coordinators and community support. For those of you who like to read along, Jennifer is who creates the transcripts for us each week. Xavier, my handsome French husband, is the cameraman and website IT guy. It takes an herbal village to make it all happen, including you. One of my favorite things about this podcast is hearing from you. I read every comment that comes in, and I'm excited to hear your herbal thoughts on arnica. All right, you have lasted to the very end of the show, which means you get your own gold star and this herbal tidbit. The Arnica Liniment recipe that Michael shared in this episode is an essential or staple herbal medicine, meaning that it truly is something simple that you can easily make, but it has big results. If you'd like to learn even more about arnica and see my recipe for arnica cream, which uses arnica tincture within it, check out my solo episode all about arnica. And if you live in the Northwest, I highly recommend the Northwest Herbal Fair. Get your tickets now before the price goes up.